Hi YouTube, this is Laminar Flow with another update for my build on my 125 gallon display with the basement sump. So do we claim the tank started cycling the day I first added water to the sump? That was July 7th. I don't think so, but maybe the 8th when the rock went in. That's reasonable. Sand went in on the 9th. Certainly by then, that's when we're started. Have no fish in here. I'm doing the fishless cycle. I'm ghost feeding. I put in all my rock that had been in my barrels cooking for the last number of months. Much of that rock came out of my 65 that had been running for years. So it's all pretty mature rock from that perspective. Either way, after about a week and adding my power bar in my cabinet over the top of the tank, I installed a couple of power heads that I had been meaning to add, one of which I had won from Jay the Fish Guy, by the way. And then 2 days later, I start to see diatoms. And the diatoms got more pronounced over a few days. Remember, I said I was ghost feeding all the way through this. Reality is, I wasn't just ghost feeding. I was bristleworm feeding. So we started noticing more and more pronounced adventures out of rocks by these critters. Started watching them nightly as the lights went out or after I had fed the tank. So the food that I had been adding for ghost feeding really wasn't rotting, it was being consumed by bristles. While I understand that the bristleworms aren't necessarily bad, they can be a good part of a cleanup crew. It was kind of affecting my behavior. I found myself searching for them after dark with flashlights. I think I was starting to worry some people. Well, maybe not people, but I was worrying others in the house. So I decided it's time, probably, based on their feedback, to add some other life into the tank. At this point, I still hadn't gotten any readings on anything as far as my testing. Zero across the board, ammonias, nitrates, trites, etc. So adding something else into the tank to actually eat the food that I was feeding seems like a good idea, and then to stir up the sand and work and all the rest of that. So what I decided to do was pick up a cleanup crew that included an arrow crab as well as some other snails, hermits, etc. So it's your basic 30-gallon cleanup crew. I didn't need to go all out on this because I really don't have that much, don't have any bio load in here at all. But it's just a good starter crew to get going in terms of the tank. And I had really high expectations of this arrow crab to just go off and chow down on some of these bristleworms. So the cleanup crew all pretty much did their work, well, except for the arrow crab, who pretty much went around and ate other members of the crew. He's got a big affection for the red leg hermit crabs. Day after day after day, I found a new one in his little claws, which really started to annoy me. And I never saw him actually go after a bristle. I've got about a 4.5-minute video from one night, yes, being a little obsessive, of a bristleworm actually crawling underneath the arrow crab. Very, very disappointing in terms of him actually going after and killing these things and eating them. So, the bottom line, he lives in the basement now because I can't afford having him kill other members of the crew that are doing something useful. We'll see if he learns to eat what he's supposed to eat and not eat other things. But on the 30th, so 3 weeks after getting started, we moved all the fish. So all the fish, there's only two. I've got this clown, and then there's a coral beauty in there who's a little elusive at this point, and after just being moved from one tank to the other. And then everything else that was alive in my 29 gallon tank got moved as well. There's a couple of big hefty snails. There were some other crabs in terms of not high numbers. A couple in this area of snails that got moved over. So everybody got moved. So 3 weeks to cycle the tank. Never once have had a reading of anything besides 0 in all of my testing. I did go back and check tests. Certainly the nitrate test was reading above 0 on the old 29. So I know the test kit is working. Just the water's pretty clean here at this point. So that's it. It's a pretty quick cycle story. On to the next task, which is getting my refugium going. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, or subscribe if you'd like to see more in this series.